Oh, and we back at it again, pioneers. What a great, beautiful day to be alive. In the heart of nature, butterflies floating around. It's raining, but the sun's still shining. The cat's outside the door meowing. And I'm just taking a deep breath of prana, of Merkaba, of that life force. Just breathe with me, pioneers. Breathe in that good ass energy. Raise the frequency and raise the vibrations. Do a little samba and dance. Kick back, relax, grab your favorite drink, your favorite snack. Cause Coach A diving deep once again. We're out here in the heart of nature. Listen closely today. Because I'm gonna teach you about turning lead into gold. You're gold. Stay golden, pony boy. I'm live in you right now, pioneers. How do you feel today on the full moon of December, the cold moon? If you're watching this video on this small Facebook channel, you're gonna receive the breakthrough that you've been patiently waiting for. Don't lose hope, pioneers. You didn't come here to go out like that. No. Stay focused. Focused action. You're gonna get there. Let me tell you this, pioneers. Fuck a normal life. Win big. The secret recipe to turning lead into gold and becoming your greatest version. Can I get a hello? I said fuck a normal life and win big. The secret recipe to becoming your greatest version. The manifestation expert and scholar you've always been meant to be. Turning lead into gold, the alchemist. Hit that like button, that share button if you're ready to become your greatest version. I want to share with you, pioneers, today how I've been able to say screw a normal life. Because people are like, Coach, I hate my life. My job, it's just boring. I'm miserable. Is there any hope? Yes. You can say screw a normal life and win big. I've done it. And you can do it too. Can I get a hello? But you can't give up. Let me tell you this, pioneers. I remember when I was growing up and I was going through times listening to things like Eminem, a normal life is boring. Get ready for that new world order. And I'm like, ooh, that's so staying with me. Nobody wants a normal life. A normal life is boring. I don't want a normal life. And I hope you don't neither. I hope you're different. You're a divergent and glitch. Why do so many people settle for a normal life? Why do so many people stay stagnant? Stay in normal. Stay fitting in. Being another brick in the wall. You didn't come here to this matrix reality to be another brick in the wall. You came here to shine. You see, let me tell you this, pioneers. To say screw a normal life and win big, the secret recipe to turning lead into gold, you gotta do this. You have to let go of what is not serving you. If it's not helping you evolve, then it's a distraction. You gotta make space for what will inspire you. Can I get a hello? Slow motion for me. Also, you gotta learn how to say no so you can grow. The cosmos has made plans for you. Your parents have made plans for you. Your friends, your teachers. Even before you conceived, people have made plans for you. They're going to be a lawyer, a doctor. What do you want, though? What are your plans for yourself? You got to be willing to say no to a life not meant for you. And be willing to say yes to a life that was made for you. Can I get a hello? That's how you say screw a normal life and win big. Turn lead into gold. How did I do it? I stopped settling for mediocrity. I stopped settling for being common. I wanted to be rare, ultra rare. Why settle for a tight squeeze when you can have a perfect fit? The moment I found my purpose, I started waking up each and every day all magical and beautiful and shit. I became rich, realizing I create happiness. That's what rich means. I became wealthy, happy. I became my greatest version. Feeling like I was 25 again. Because I love what I'm doing. I love who I am because I said screw a normal life. I went to the University of Hard Knocks, the University of Prison, maximum security, with a 15-year sentence. And I was in that prison day in and day out for years, hardening myself like a caterpillar that goes into a cocoon, a metamorphosis that turns into a butterfly. Like, I was just being myself. I watched people, though, that wanted to stay like everyone else, fitting in. I wanted to be free, in nature, being myself. And that's what I'm doing right now today. Touching people all around the world, creating my own reality, manifesting my own life, the one I truly desire. And the universe has said, Coach, your wish is my command. Because I was willing to let go of mediocrity. Because I said, screw a normal life, I'm gonna win big. A lot of people aren't happy with where they're working because they're just surviving. And I got news for you, pioneers, it's only gonna get worse. You didn't come here to survive. You came here to thrive and win big. But you gotta be willing to go the extra mile, being courageous, be bold. In the words of Coach Abe, I don't even know who he is, but he did say this: the universe, the cosmos, God reveals its secrets to those who dare to follow their hearts. Can I get a hello slow motion for me? I said, the universe, God, the cosmos reveals its secrets to those who dare to follow their hearts. So say screw a normal life and go all around the world, explore, travel. I've been to multiple states and I plan to go to multiple countries. Can I get a hello? Passport gonna be so full, we're gonna get a new one every couple of months. Let's go, pioneers. Build your fortress, build your legacy. I want to learn more about life. I want to grow. I want to evolve. I want to say screw a normal life and win big. I don't want to just get a job, a just over broke that keeps me stuck in society, struggling. I want to get a career, a job that's joy over boredom. You like the wordplay there, pioneers? That's what I've got right now today. A joy over boredom. No day is boring. Every day is fun. It's exciting. I'm living my best life. I'm grateful. I got a gift to share with the world. Because I said screw a normal life and went my own way. I would see people growing up, always in a piss poor attitude, with that bitch face. And I'm like, why you got a bitch face on? Why you in that poor attitude at 6 o'clock in the morning? And here it is now 8 o'clock in the evening, 11 o'clock at night. And you in the same piss poor attitude with that same bitch face on. Oh my gosh, you're making that face like every single second of every single day. You're letting a bad day turn into a bad week, that turns into a bad lifetime because you're living a boring, normal life. And you gotta be you. And how do you do this? You turn lead into gold and you become your greatest version. Do more of what makes you happy, number one. Number two, it's your dream. It's their fear. Can I get a hello? In life, many people will tell you, don't do that. They'll project their fears onto you, and you got to be bold enough to follow your heart. Build your craft, your skill, so you can get to your outcome. Because the universe reveals its secrets to those who dare to follow their hearts. You see, in the end, you'll have the last laugh if you follow your hearts. Listen to your inner voice, your higher self, and trust your intuition. Because you know what's best for you. You didn't come here to do what everyone else is doing, pioneers. You came here for your own unique experience. So screw a normal life. A normal, boring life. Win big. I dare you, pioneers. I dare you to be you. To do what your heart is calling you to do. I dare you to move forward into your purpose. Because you are already that being. Pioneers, all you got to do is put yourself first and put yourself in that place. Touch that guardian angel on the shoulder and say, hey, I believe this is going to be. Now let's make it happen. And then it feels so good to be alive, doesn't it, pioneers? Certainly hope you're all doing well. Hit that like button, share the video. Let's breathe in a good breath of that prana, that merkaba, that pneuma, that energy, that life force. And just relax. Breathe out all the worries in the world. If you want more powerful, life-changing information like this, then follow us here on the Daily Candle Close News on Facebook or Rumble at Honest Abe, capital H, capital A, B3. It's all about certainly hoping you're, evolving, becoming your best self, your higher self, so you can grow and evolve. Because my journey has always been about giving a man or woman a fish so that they can eat for a day, but then leaving them that fishing rod that I caught that fish with so that they can eat for a lifetime, and then teaching them how to fish so that they can eat forever, but then teaching them how to farm so that they can eat and farm nations. So very powerful. And I'm here to remind you all that you owe it to yourself to say, I'm going to be better than I am today, better than I was last year, and reach for the stars. And once you reach for the stars will align for you. But you got to believe in your hearts and in your minds that what you repeatedly do gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset. And what gets ingrained in your subconscious mindset becomes your unconscious action and an unconscious activity that's only guideful and helpful for you and others. So we're going to be talking about today a concept that I've brought up recently, turning lead into gold. And this is something that started in the middle of me working on something that I put together recently, becoming the manifestation expert and scholar that you've always been meant to be course. And it's something that is non-crypto, non-numerology, gematria, just totally evolving into that expansion mastermind and becoming the alchemist, the architect of your own reality. So something that's helped me along this process is being able to turn lead into gold. And I wanted to put my individual spin on this today in this video. I'm a master decoder, and I'm really in tune with some of the things that we see in life. And we'll bring up this lead element real quick and talk about this, turning lead into gold, this gold element. I believe we're all golden. So this video is going to be a lot about turning lead into gold, and just a gift that I want to give to the world with something that I'm going to be going on a deeper, in-depth view of in my course that I'm releasing, in my Alchemy of Self chapter and level. So something that I'm working on in the backgrounds that I really hope you're looking forward to reaching out to purchase. So with this turning lead into gold, we are made up of multiple elements in the human body, and it's our job to not be led to gold. It's for us to be leaders and turn lead into gold. Instead of fulfilling somebody else's dream, we've got to perpetuate our own dream. So now that we're getting together and talking about this, I've decided to try and really go in depth about how I feel this could really help millions of people around the world. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode of the Daily Candle Close News, just a hangout, this, that, and the third, Wop Bamboozle session that we're going to do today. I don't know how long we're going to be on here and where this goes. Of course, we're going to do technical analysis and some important dates that we'll pay attention to coming up in the rest of December. A very ritualistic time period. Potential energy coming into these markets. We'll talk about that. So I think maybe the good place to start with this is, what does this mean to you? What does from lead to gold mean to you? So think about that. Pause the video, take a second, write down some notes. What does turning lead into gold mean to you? Ladies and gentlemen, you are constantly utilizing this lead to gold concept and process. A big one for me is the exchange of energy, Merkaba, as a human being, prana, my life force, my Merkaba, my prana, my pneuma, my life force energy. This is a huge process for me and how I expand my energy and Merkaba every single day. So I try and turn lead into gold. What are you being influenced by? Because whatever you're being influenced by in life is kind of getting your lead. You're giving something else your lead. And then it gets transmuted into gold for someone else. And you're not being the alchemist of this process. And I think what's fascinating is these people that are out there in the world that are bashing my work or some of your work out there, if you're doing some, that are purposely saying things of what they don't like or whatever, assumptions, opinions. I think that's the true opinion of lead to gold. Because when you become a conscious being and an alchemist of lead to gold, like I am, or like any other alchemist is, you're going to be able to take any hate or any love and turn it into gold. Turn it into flowers for your life. You know, this hate energy that so many people are putting out there in the world, we're going to transmute it and use it as gas to power and drive our lives and flip it into gold. And it's going to make us more powerful and stronger. That's what a pioneer does. That's the true essence of turning lead into gold. And it's so important that we pay attention to this. And I want to continue to build off of this for a minute. You know, the breakdown of this has a lot to do with the words. You know, this word right here, lead. And we'll view it right here. Don't pay attention to the numbers. But boom, wow, 22 in the 22 years. But you either lead to gold or you're led to gold. You turn lead into gold. And then you become the leader. So very important. You know, lead or led. Which one are you going to do? Take personal responsibility and become self-reliant. Become a leader amongst men and followers. This is something that, you know, could have a lot to do with maybe your life and where you're at. You want to become the leader and you want to stop being the follower. And this is going to be a unique spin on the term lead to gold, turning lead into gold. Let's continue to break this down even further. You're either being led or following, or you're leading and you have leadership. You're the coach. You're the teacher. In my words, I've said before, I speak to the heirs of leadership. And a true leader, they're not what you believe they are. You know, they go through trials and tribulations as well. They have hard times as well. But it's how they get back up when they fall. That's a true leader. Anybody else that tells you they're a leader and they've never failed, I'd steer clear of them. You know, but those that are inspired by what they see and motivated by what they see, it works in both ways. As a leader, you see something you might like and you something you don't like, and you take personal inventory and you think about what you don't want to be, the leader you don't want to be. And then you don't project your fears or emotions onto it. A real leader sees opportunity even in the darkness, the negative. And I think this is a great place to start. Becoming the leader, turning lead into gold. Are you going to be led or are you going to lead? You know, we got lead piping, lead in our body. It's everywhere in the world. LEAD, leader. Let's take out all of this and turn it into gold. All of our problems, take a deep breath, Hakuna Matata, no worries, and turn all that negativity, those problems in your life, and turn them into gold. Become the architect, the alchemist. Are you being led, or are you being the leader? Something I want any pioneer listening here to take into consideration. Are you a leader, or are you being led? I know I'm repeating myself, but I'm trying to instill it in your mind. These are big concepts that we have to take away on a personal level as we're listening to this and working throughout the problems that we're facing in our lives, day in and day out. It's critical that people realize that you're expressing. And while you express and while you observe, And while you're just a part of this matrix, it comes back to yourself. Everything comes back to you at the end of the day. You came here alone and you're going to leave here alone. You're the universe and you're going to experience this life unfold. And take accountability. Look in the mirror and reflect. That's a huge part of our expansion, our evolving, the true enlightenment. And something I think we can all agree on is that our gold is, we are gold. Remember, stay golden, pony boy. Where's that at? Gold is aura, or aurum in the Latin word, which meaning gold, aurum, and it's aura, your body, your gold, that's what we're talking about. But stay golden, pony boy. Who's read The Outsiders? A great book that I suggest you all read. You're gold, pioneers. We have the context of spirit here in this word. It is you. Gold is you. Your true essence. Aura, aurum in Latin. And I want this to tie back into our work. Teaching you who you truly are. That's always been my biggest goal. My work is for you. Getting your attention. Capturing your attention. Teaching you your higher self. So you're not distracted by the other leaders. Congress, nonsense. Whatever. And it's okay if you can tap into those things and be influenced in a way that can promote your expansion and well-being, but most people just become followers instead of developing their skills and their mindset. And a lot of the times we forget this lead to gold process. We let our gold get mined without being consciously aware of it. We should be mining our own gold, not letting somebody else mine our gold. And the overwhelming majority of people that come to my work, I believe they're interested in this, becoming the higher self, the architect, the alchemist, turning lead into gold. Because they've learned about the government and the apex predator and what's happened over the last few years. I won't mention it, but things that's happened since forever, and they have a choice at this moment. And they choose to honor themselves instead of honoring anybody else outside of themselves. They look up to their higher self instead of anyone else. How do they go about their life? Turning lead into gold. And how do you become a true alchemist, a true leader of your own vision? Will you turn lead into gold? You say screw a normal life and win big. People forget the basic fundamentals of how the human body works. And if you compare the heart to the human heart to the engine of a car, and how the engine of the car starts up the compression, that starts up the combustion, and then the engine starts to move and run, that creates heat and energy, which creates movement, and that's led to gold. That's the car taking gasoline and turning lead into gold through the combustion and the chamber, the pistons, and the spark plugs, etc. That's the internal system itself, and your body does this same thing. And that's when you turn into the highest form of currency, gold, a lead to gold process. You become the alchemist, the architect, and that's a fractal of your own torus field, your own aura. So don't be influenced by anyone else. Allow yourself to be influenced by your higher self, by your true self, so you can continue to evolve and grow. So very important that we discuss these things. The concept that's going to continue to come back to this is, from turning lead into gold, is just deciding to evolve and hold the torch. Be different. Decide to take the path not taken, the quantum leap. Just grow, pioneers. Don't care what anybody else thinks of you. Become consciously aware of what you're doing day in and day out. And is it helping you evolve? And are you living out of love, abundance, and gratitude? Or are you living out of chaos and war and hatred? And are you being consistent and stagnant and wasting your energy, your prana, your lead, while not turning it into gold? And I think it's key, the leadership role that we can all choose to take today. What kind of leader do you want? Do you want to be a leader? Not everybody wants to be a leader in life. I know a lot of people that don't. They're perfectly happy with their TikToks, their WAP videos, their sporting events. And you got to ask yourself right now today, what are you built for? And if you're listening to this, then I'd say you're a conscious individual and being, a real divergent and glitch. And do you have it all figured out? No, I don't think any of us ever will. But are you going to be a leader, or are you going to be a follower that's led to gold, that's led turned into gold for someone else instead of for yourself? You know, what are you doing? What kind of leader do you want to be? Because you can change the world right now, today. And it's really fascinating how many people choose to squander this opportunity without unleashing their unfulfilled potential. You know, and if we think about lead to gold, and we think about this process, it's truly easy. You know, just take any hatred or love that comes your way, and turn that energy into abundance for your life. You know, this is a part of my own journey right now, because as much as I exposed where I'm at in my work, with my past and my present, I really do it to help others unlock where they're at. And I think that's really important. I don't want to be an influencer. I don't want to be a leader or a coach, even though I don't get to choose that. It's where I'm at. I just want to be the greatest dad. You know, it's like people that say you don't get to choose life. God does. The cosmos does. Whatever you believe in, whether you're religious or not, that's irrelevant. Just the confidence that some of these people have. You know, I kind of agree with the confidence, the source energy that is their belief. You know, I resonate with that. Where are you at right now in your life with all your control and desire? Are you at a place where you could never imagine? Or are you still being consistent and stagnant? Are you still being lead that's never been turned into gold? You know, I don't desire anymore to control where my life goes. That's where I've been able to shift my mind and groupthink, my mind from the groupthink, and become my own higher self. The glitch, the alchemist, the architect. And we're in this matrix and simulacrum, and we gotta pay attention to these things. And it's important that we look at currency just like this. You know, how do we become more abundant while we're living? Instead of waiting around for some idea to come true, whether that's in our lives, etc. We got to be real with ourselves and become the leader that's going to take any and every opportunity day in and day out, whether we're poor or rich, etc., and turn lead into gold so that we can become happier and fulfilled. And I think that somebody had to come out and speak about this in a way that's completely tied to everything that we witness in the world. Markets, finance, news, etc. And you know, something I speak about quite often is, and an idea I've shared with people before is, don't allow your ego to be siphoned. Some people say you need to get away from the ego and let it die. And I don't believe that. You need to humble your ego. And that's with stuff that you're consuming or stuff that you're doing in life, however you're living your life, whatever it is for you. But most people in this world are literally driving their life, their ego, as if it's a car that they knew had a gas tank that had holes in it. And they're riding around town with their gas light on, constantly pulling into a gas station and putting more gas in, and they know there's holes in the gas tank, and they can decide to patch up the holes, but they choose not to. And when the ego becomes so damaged, and the self-esteem is at an all-time low, and the self-awareness and self-purpose is at an all-time low, you're getting prana from every angle, and it's going into your gas tank, and it's leaking out. And when you're really damaged, hurt people. And it's hard because you're going to want to numb now with your crutches and your vices and your hurts, habits, and hang-ups and your addictions. You know, your skeletons with emotions. And you don't want to feel. And once you start to feel, you want to react with a numbing agent like porn, vices, addictions, hurts, habits, and hang-ups, or projecting hate onto others. So when I think of people who have the most damaged ego, you know, the drama queens and the jocks, etc., the people that are always talking shit about others, the haters, you know, that's the definition of someone that's walking around with that ego. Someone that's always projecting their fears externally because their gas tank is damaged. And they're just hoping for energy and prana and Merkaba from somewhere. And the only way they can get it through siphoning someone else's gas, creating drama, etc. And people are literally driving around right now in life today in a car with the gas light on. And think about how you feel when you're in a car with the gas light on. The only thing that matters to you is that you get to the gas station and you get gas in your car right now. Because you don't want to be stuck on the side of the road. It'll change the way you act with the stoplight, the stop sign. You'll speed. You start to get more tense. You might feel sick to your stomach just because the idea that you might not know where you're at on an abandoned road that you never drove down, and you're starting to freak out because your gas light's on. You don't know where the nearest gas station is. And that's how people are living their life right now today. And that's why I talk about how we've got to evolve and become the leader, turn lead into gold. Because one being is just existing, and the other person is living. And the person that's living isn't worried if their gas tank is full or empty. They're confident that they got a gas tank, and they got energy and prana and Merkaba, and they can tap into their own awareness and gnosis, and they're going to be protected at all costs because they emit a frequency of gold and love. But when you're existing and you're led, you're just always in fear and wanting acceptance and wanting to be the follower, and it can get to be a very slippery slope, so much so where you're broke and your gas tank's on E. This is not advice to anyone out there, but if you're somebody out there that's capable of looking at yourself in the mirror right now today and saying, yeah, I live my life today as if my gas tank is always on E and I don't have a problem in the world. And if you can really do that and say you've been driving around in a car with the gas light on all day, every day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep, my advice to you is stop doing that. Yeah, you're making it. You're getting through. Let your fucking car screech to a halt. Run out of gas. Feel what it feels like. And instead of trying to run away from it, your so-called problem, the fear of failure, being broke, making a mistake, embrace the chaos. Embrace your unknowing. Embrace your fear. Letting your car run out of gas is the optimal opportunity for you to make change. Turn lead into gold. Because when you're always riding around with that tank on E, you're just going to continue to fill up with this artificial gas, this prana, this Instagram, this TikTok, this sports, whatever. Binging fast food restaurants, you know, while it pours right out of your empty gas tank with holes all in it. So let the gas tank run out. Feel what it feels like for once to hit rock bottom. Because when you actually go through that moment, that's where the real transmutation happens. When your car in reality really runs out of gas and you're sitting there on the side of the road and it's not going nowhere and it's not moving anymore, that's where you start to change your behavior. I've been there, I've done it. You're going to start to make massive change. Because you let yourself hit rock bottom. Rock bottom. How many people have hit what they would describe as rock bottom? And the only way to go, the only place to go from there is up. Or you stay there in rock bottom, incomplete, and figuratively kill yourself, your ego. Becoming a miserable human being each and every day. Or you can take this concept of what we're talking about, running out of gas, and then turning lead into gold, being present in the moment of what's going on around me, and how does this feel? We can correlate this with many things in our life. Some of the things that people say woke versus sheeple, that's turning lead into gold. Same thing. Don't look at people and judge them because you used to be there as well. That's running out of gas. When you awaken from your slumber and you realize how this world and reality works, and you look back at where you were 5-10 years ago, and you can say, damn, I was asleep back then. You can then say, damn, now I'm turning lead into gold now. My gaslight ain't no longer on. I became the alchemist, the architect. And this is important when we talk about stepping into leadership. And when we talk about leadership, I'm not talking about becoming the fucking CEO. I'm talking about a leader. A leader is a really incredibly present parent. That's a fucking leader. Just being present in the moment. A great boss. A great partner to their loved one. A leader is taking ownership of your fucking purpose. If you have a child, that's your purpose right now. If you're a CEO, then yeah, that's your purpose. If you're a farmer, then the land is your purpose. Embrace your purpose. Be 110% you. And you'll get the output from your input that you've exhausted. And the bigger point is that when you cascade into this role of the leader instead of being the follower, and again, it has its own definition for you. I've just laid out what I've embodied in this journey. You've got to be aware though when there's cracks and fissures in your product or your craft, your skill, your life, yourself. So you can cement them up and evolve. So you can transmutate that and turn it from lead into gold. Alright. So hope you all enjoyed that process of alchemy, turning lead into gold. We'll go ahead and get started into talking about a lot of things today. Cryptocurrency technical analysis for Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum as well. We'll be going over a few dates and some things that we've talked about brushing up in the past. We know that today is December 7th, which is the December full moon, and also known as the cold moon. The Celtic calendar calls it the cold moon. This is a very common term for the December full moon. So a very important time period. We knew that this day could bring potential volatility in the cryptocurrency markets. And of course, we see this morning at 1 a.m. we saw a massive sell-off in the markets. Not really, down 1.41%. So of course, on the full moon, bringing a bearish energy in the market, something we've talked about for quite some time. So we've been talking a lot about, in the decoding in the background and the work that we've done recently, about the 49th week of the year, heading into the 50th week of the year, heading out of the Shemitah into the Jubilee year, the 50th year cycle. So very important, something we know is going to bring potential volatility heading out of Rosh Hashanah this year to these markets. So let's get straight into it and talk about this 49th week of the year. Something I brought up recently about this date around 11 or 12/7, December 7th and 6th. the full moon is potential downside to retesting the outside top side of this trend line, and we could still see volatility bring us all the way back down to swipe back down into 15,000 again before the end of December. So something we should pay attention to. This 49th week of the year is very, very important for us to pay attention to. We know we just exited out of the Shemitah and the 7-year cycle, which is the 7th 7-year cycle. 7 cycles of the Shemitah is 49 years, and the Jubilee is practiced on the following year, the 50th year. So go back and watch our Jubilee Decoded video right here, talking about the Shemitah breakdown and the Jubilee special. This was part 2 of a 2-part series that I done. The other one was back in February, the year of the tiger video. So very important. Both videos are full of knowledge that you can pay attention to regarding this 49 number, or the number 7. So the significance of this time frame that we're in right now, the Jubilee, is going to be something we have to consider to pay attention to very well moving forward. We just know there's going to be a major year next year for finances. So let's look at today real quick before I change this. We know it's 10 weeks, 2 days. Today is Wednesday, Miracle-Days, the day of Mercury, also known as the day of commerce. So very important. Wednesday, December 7th. We know this is also the 81st year anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. So a very important day that I'm watching for, and it wasn't surprising to see an attack on the cryptocurrency markets this morning as we transitioned into December 7th, a day that would live in infamy. So very important that we pay attention to this. Also being the December full moon today. So very important. We know bearish energy comes in the markets around the full moon, not to mention it was in the 49th week of the year, right after the Shemitah year, which is the 49th year. So very important. Or it's the 7th year, but the 7th 7-year cycle is the 49th year, which was this year, 2022. So very important. But I was comparing this time period to something we witnessed in cryptocurrency back here, right around March 12th and 13th. Friday the 13th, you guys, where we had our market bottom lows on March 13th. I'm really considering this December time period to be very, very similar to this final low that we got in the markets in 2019 before we saw a recovery phase. So very important. And we know that this time period from today, if we were to go to our date calendar and pull this up, we can see just how important this time period was to where we are today. It's alright, 2020. There we go. It's a span of 1,000 days. So that's psychological 1,000 days. So very important. I just thought it was very interesting that we brought that up. Undeniable. We know our lives changed forever. I'm sure you all remember it. Right back here. Maybe you weren't invested in cryptocurrency, but you saw everything that played out on the news, and with the economy, with your families, etc. The nonsense that we watched perpetuate itself on the world stage for 2 years, while everybody missed out on the greatest financial opportunity ever, while we were screaming buy in at this time period. Don't get distracted. Evolve. So going back to March 12th, March 13th right now, today being 1,000 days, very psychologically, heading us into December 8th, tomorrow. So very important, being really 1,001 days. Drop the zeros, we have that 11, the number of reset, very important. A day that leaves 23 days left in the year. That's going to tie us into Jubilee. giving us that same 23. And we can consider this as well. We're coming out of Mercury today. Mercury giving us that same 23. Today is Mercury, miércoles, Wednesday, the day of Mercury. Okay, so we were paying attention to Bitcoin today. Very important. Bitcoin giving us that 72. And we know today, if we go back to Rosh Hashanah and the start of the Jubilee year and the end of the 7-year sabbatical cycle, we see that it was a span of a total today 72 days. So really esoteric as to why we see this sell-off coming in the markets at 1 a.m. this morning, because it was 72 days since the start of the Jewish Hebrew New Year. So very important. I won't spend too much time on this, but I just want to remind people that, you know, Bitcoin gave us that 117 right there. We'll hit enter and get that down there. And we're right now witnessing the Sagittarius full moon, also known as the December full moon or the cold moon, giving us that same 72, that same 117. Today is December 7th, the 81st anniversary of the attack on Pearl Harbor. So very esoteric as to why we see these markets come down today as well. Undeniable. So just want to bring this up. Just interesting connections that we're making. And of course, this always ties us back into, of course, some of our favorite pals that help run the world stage, the Jesuit order, giving us that same 72. So very important. That 144, the 144,000 chosen. We'll be speaking on this number today in this video as well. And you know, that's also tying us into Sagittarius, giving us that same 144, that 45 we get in Bitcoin, and that 81 we got in the 81-year anniversary today of the Pearl Harbor attack. So very important. Just some things I want to bring up and share with you all. So we're doing it all today, in the 49th week of the year, a very important time period. All this has to deal with heading into Saturnalia and Hanukkah and Christmas, this very pagan, ritualistic Roman holiday time period that we're going to be witnessing at the end of the month. All this is going to ultimately tie us back into Saturn and Kronos and Father Time at the end of the year, heading into the 52nd week of the year. 52 cards in a playing deck, all very esoteric. Just last year, I really had a great call on the 52nd week of the year where we saw the market sell off from a bull trap on December 27th, a day that I prepared my pioneers for. So, you know, we'll pay attention to how the end of this year works as well. Something we're definitely very adamant about, possibly giving us our final low and bottom before entering a recovery phase and heading out of this arduous year-long downtrend we've been in the markets. So, all right, see where we want to go from here. All right. So 2 days from now, we'll talk about that time period. We know tomorrow we're going to be looking at that day being 10 weeks, 3 days from the start of Rosh Hashanah. 103 is the 27th prime number. Mercury equals 103. We're coming out of miércoles, the day of Mercury today. 73 is the 21st prime number, and we know Bitcoin has a 21 million coin supply, and it's tied to Saturn. Saturn equals 21. We always pay attention to this 21 and 22. So very important. This will be a day that, like I said, leaves 23 days left in the year, and this day, Friday, will be a day that's the 343rd day of the year. This is very important because that is 7 times 7 times 7, leaving 22 days left of the year. And remember, we were just in the Jewish Hebrew New Year of 5782 in the 22 year, all adding up to 22. So we pay attention to this 22 for a potential reset in the markets, giving us that same 22. So very important. We're going to pay attention to this. All right. Now this is going to be what I'm watching out for is 74 days. We know that this is going to tie us into Jesus, giving us that 74, or Lucifer, giving us that 74, or energy, giving us that 74. Looking for potential volatility and energy in the markets on this day, 12/9, December 9th. So very important that we pay attention to this, still falling in the 49th week, heading into the 50th week of the year, that Jubilee week in the Jubilee year. So very important that we pay attention to this. All right. And then that 21 days left in the year, we'll consider this day all the way up until the 10th, and then obviously the 12th, which will be the start of the 50th week of the year, which is a 77 date numerology. When connected back to Rosh Hashanah, with 77 days, the 77th day, when connected back to Rosh Hashanah, a day that added up to 77 in numerology, which ended the 7-year sabbatical cycle before heading into the 50th year. So very important as we keep talking about this. It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. This being the 12th month and the 12th day, just very esoteric. Gonna be paying attention to this very heavily. Let's keep this in mind. All right. Now I guess we can get into the technical analysis part of this video, and we'll be done with this, and we'll just move straight into cryptocurrency. We've already went over a lot of things. This previous rejection from 17,300, 17,400, we prepared you all for a potential 17,500 and then rollover, and we're really struggling to get back above this 16,900 and this 17,000 psychologically, where our 223 exponential moving average is on this yellow exponential moving average. So until we reclaim this on the 2-hour time frame and hold multiple candles above this, nothing to be happy about. Obviously in a downtrend right here. So very important. Let's look at this on another chart and view it on the daily time frame. And let's zoom in. You see, we get this potential left shoulder, head, maybe a right shoulder coming in, inverse head and shoulders pattern that we can pay attention to, with a few days of consolidation where we're just building base, looking pretty good. Daily close had a bullish engulfing before a potential bear trap that we were just talking about on the 2-hour time frame. Bringing us into our full moon energy. Not surprising. We could just see this wash back down into 15K and set a higher low, not go as low as right here, and then move back up towards that full moon, or towards the new moon of December, towards the end of the month. That brings bullish energy. We're not going to let it psych us out and think we're going all the way back up to the top. We still think a potential lower low is coming in these markets by the end of the year, full moon of January, before we get an idea of a trend reversal and a recovery. We're still filling out and finding our final low, something that's taken, pretty much a year to do. So very important. All right, let's look at this on the monthly time frame for a minute. All right, yeah, just still potentially in a downtrend, and we have pretty much the rest of the month to consider what we're gonna do. And we brought this up moving back in time. Look at the 2-day for a minute. Look at the Bollinger Bands, and not a lot to talk about right here. Underneath the median, we know where we can head to potentially 14,400, that 144 we told you we'd be talking about today, the 144,000 chosen. So very important. Let's turn that off. Nothing important. We'll look at the SMA 58 and the 200, and we're on the 2-day time frame. Right now we're settling above this 8. We're undecided if we're going to hold that as support right now or just break through it. Nothing to get too excited about, but this 50 right here at $19,019, not surprising. We can potentially see a push up to that by the end of December before the January full moon, where we potentially set that lower low we're talking about and then enter recovery. Who knows? But I definitely don't see this simple moving average of 32,500 being hit for any time soon. Come on now. It's been, since we even last touched that, it's been 125 days. I expect this to, be around 144 or 180 days before we potentially get back up to this, maybe even 200 or more before we get back up to this time period, heading into April, May of next year. So very important. This is in a sloping downward momentum. We can continue to see this even bleed down even more. These are lagging indicators, something we got to pay attention to. So for those that are more technically inclined, you can use this stuff effectively. And if you're new to TA, just pay attention right now. Let's look at some more moving averages, the EMAs, because we were just looking at the simple moving averages. We'll look at the exponential moving averages right now, and we'll look at the 8, the 13, the 21, 34, 55, and so on. Right now, this 21 being a rejection point, 17.5. Until we can get above this 17.5 and above this 200 exponential moving average, 18,200, then nothing to be excited about. We're going to continue to get rejections until we hold 2-day daily closes. Well, we got daily closes above the 21, so we definitely want to see daily closes above the 200 and this 55 right here. So we were looking at this on the 2-day just now, and the 2-day, yeah, 18,818. That'd be really fortunate on the 2-day to get multiple daily closes above that. All right. But going back to the 2-hour time frame, we still can't even continue to hold the 200 exponential moving average on the 2-hour time frame. This is still a downtrend, family and pioneers. So that's why this idea of the full moon today, the Pearl Harbor attack day, isn't surprising to see a dip in the markets, already setting us up for a potential break lower. I've given enough evidence in the past for why this is plausible. We could see it. Will it occur and we go lower? Yeah, it's possible. And if it happens, it's going to happen around a time frame like Hanukkah or the Shemitah or the Saturnalia time frame around Christmas or the beginning of the year. The full moon of January. Some things we're talking about and preparing you all for. So get ready, not financial advice. So with 13, 14 years of data that we've went over for a year, we've came to these month by month moves that are unlike anyone else out here in the markets. So you've got to pay attention and do the work, take notes, when it comes to these moon phases and these things that we talk about that nobody else wants to give any credit to. And you can win big. You can say screw a normal life and turn lead into gold like we've been talking about in this entire episode, and give us the ability to get close to determining the timing of this market and the direction as well. Most TA is borderline possible for anybody that even tries it, but they've got to step outside the box and stop trying to follow these markets and know these markets. It's an algorithmic code, pre-programmed. So something we've taught for over a year now. I know people perceive my work as if I'm a predictions guy, and that's clearly not the case. I hate that term, to be honest. I'm just developing a skill and a craft that I can share with people that will allow them to take the information and apply it to the coins that they're interested in. So I'm laying out these tips and tricks far in advance to a point to where people forget about them when we get to these time periods and they're finally here. But we got to be open-minded to the switch of energy during these specific time periods that we've taught about. The 21st, 22nd of the month, around the full new moon, the specific holidays and things that we discuss here on the Daily Candle Close News. And you can strive when it comes to global economics. You can set yourself up to eat fruit in the future. So remember that. All right. I think we're going to get ready to talk about Ethereum now, you guys. We've pretty much seen that Bitcoin is in a downtrend, possibly just going to continue to set an even lower low. Who knows? Let's get into ETH though and see where we're at there. I ain't even looked at the charts lately. Alright, I'm gonna have to find my Ethereum chart. Excuse me. Alright, there we are. Okay, we finally decided to swipe back below this 1250 psychologically horizontal range. So technically, as of now, this is kind of like our potential possible selling climax. If we were to look at this on the daily. Alright. Yeah, totally still in a downtrend now that we broke this horizontal range. Probably going to come back and retest this broadening wedge that we were in. Yeah, maybe hold this as support and come down to this 1071, this 1073 range. This is very a range that we've chopped around in the past. You know, it's not been friendly in the past for leverage and trading. Been very fantastic for accumulating when things get oversold on the RSI down here. So very important. We could potentially come back down here and retest this. Just continue to fill out this range. Maybe even go lower. Who knows? 2-day. Yeah, getting our first 2-day candle close today. Today. It's going to close obviously tomorrow, the 9th. So 5th, 7th, 9th. Yeah. So our next 2-day close, we'll have to consider what our Friday close for the market does. We know cryptocurrency trades 24/7, 365, so it might not affect that much for cryptocurrency, but there's still opportunity for us to have a new low in Ethereum. We just got to see how this plays out on the 2-day time frame. Definitely got bullish histograms forming, but you know, we could get just 3 right here. We already started to see the volume wane right here. So we could see this RSI become oversold, underbought. Important for us to consider, especially right here around the full moon today. So this is great for us to get ready to accumulate. If you've had limit orders set to just dollar cost average in around this 1250, this psychological range we've been following for quite some time. Just obviously an accumulation range that's held support in the past recently. Not investment advice for you, just overall in context. I've been dollar cost averaging into Ethereum. It's been a little bit easier to trust with my investment thesis the last several months. It's been a lot better performing than certain assets. Something I've been working on week by week is just being super thorough and not overcomplicate things lately. I don't want to be, a disservice to my viewers. I don't want to be caught up in this fantasy land of cryptocurrency nonsense that Twitter and YouTube hype out. I'm just sharing the truth. So the 3-day, any conditions? No. 5-day. Yeah, it's going to close. A new one's going to open up on the 12th. We know it's going to be a very important time period. December 12th, starting the 50th week of the year. So, very important. Oh yeah, still below the 8. If we can get back up to this 13 and this 21 on the 5-day time period, this 1370 range, we can potentially just continue to climb on up and hold this as support, finally get back above 14K, and then we can consider Ethereum possibly in a recovery stage, especially if we were to get back up to this 55 and 21, this 200, where we get a lot of clustering exponential movement averages, this 17K range. We'll know if we're in an automatic rally when we break this high and a $2,000 ETH, because this would be enough time and enough chart data for us to consider Ethereum has finally hit its low and bottom. Not financial advice, but just something I'm definitely looking at with this asset that's been super suppressed, but also performing at a rate to where I feel like they're trying to price out the average retail investor. So very important, very important. We can see Bitcoin move up 100% in a day, and it could cause Ethereum to move up 300-400%. So it wouldn't be uncommon to see this, especially if we were to see this not in a day but a week time period by the end of December, heading into the new moon. So 300% to the upside would get us to about we'll be conservative and say 150-175% increase could definitely take us to right there at around that 3,300 range, our previous April highs of 2022. So definitely could see a trend reversal and a bottom finally formed and an automatic rally after a buying climax and a selling climax and Wyckoff reaccumulation. So very important. Now let's talk about XRP before we get off of here. All right. So what have we talked about recently? We'll look at this on the 2-hour time frame and take a look at our exponential moving averages, our 322 and our 223. We've just been getting steady rejection ever since we exited at this Bart Simpson head pattern that we've talked about. So very important. Right, so these horizontal trading ranges that we've shown here have been super critical for the last several months, and I think it's important that you put them on your own chart. And I think we can clearly see the importance of this level right here of 38 cents. We have these just major ranges of treating this as resistance or support, one of the two. Support. Now starting to treat 38 cents as possible resistance. Are we heading back down to 36 cents for a possible accumulation range before we head back down to maybe 35, 33 cents, 34, who knows? Maybe even setting a lower low that we've talked about for months. So, undeniable. Same thing, just a different day. We know this trend line is very critical, and going as high as this potentially 41 cents, maybe 42, 43 cents, and then getting rejected back below this trend line and a swipe back down to 31 cents, 32 cents is very possible in the cards for XRP, especially right here around the December full moon. We're heading into the January full moon. If we were to decide that this was our low that we got today on the full moon, and we're going to come up into the January, and then December new moon and the January full moon, well, are we then going to roll over the next several 30 days? Who knows? That's not unexpected. So we'll just have to continue to see what XRP does. I know it's kind of like a if and then situation, and it's kind of like giving you a both upside and downside target of anywhere from 22 to 31 cents, and for the downside, and a high of 42, 43 cents to the upside if we were to see a rally. I don't know. Basically the same thing we've been considering for the last several days. So moving forward, I just want you to keep this in mind and think about the things that we talked about. Are you going to be the leader and turn lead into gold, or are you going to, be led to gold for someone else? Become the alchemist and the architect of your own life. Build your fortress and build your legacy. Pioneers rise, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and God bless.